Why Paramount Canceled Star Trek Strange New Worlds by renewing it for 2 seasons. By Joshua Patton. Alright, Josh, let's see what's up. Now, I promise this could be a big deal. Normally, I don't do these, super topical news videos, but I think this could be significant, so let's see what's up. And this was published 3 days ago, as of the time of this recording. A little more than a month before the debut of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, we're going to be watching that. Paramount Plus series experienced a classic good news, bad news situation. Already filming its 4th season, Paramount announced the original series prequel show's 5th and final season. Also, there will only be 6 episodes instead of the usual 10. Okay, now that's a short season. Too short a season, if you will. 6 episodes? That sounds like a mini-series or something. And, I don't know. I heard a while ago that Alex Kurtzman's contract is up in 2026. Is this related? Are they doing 6 episodes for the final season of Strange New Worlds so that they can kind of film it back to back? Is that the case now? I don't know. Do they just want this stuff out the door? If that's the case, what does that mean for Starfleet Academy? Did they greenlight a season 2? I don't know. Maybe we'll never see it. I'm not complaining, nor am I jubilant. I'm just saying what's happening, or what could be happening. As I said in my video outlining the different generations of Star Trek, and what will come next after this, all things run its course. They run their course. And it's on cue. The, quote-unquote Kurtzman era has been around since 2017, and if you really want to get into the weeds, maybe you can say 2009, but I'm just going to say 2017 to be safe. And, we're going to hit 10 years. So maybe it's time. Who knows? Depends on who you ask. I will be watching, though. Like everything Star Trek, it's complicated. Fans of the universe Gene Roddenberry created in 1966 noted a Writers Guild announcement indicating Strange New Worlds renewal for Season 5. What began as an exciting update quickly turned bittersweet when the studio announced a shortened episode count and the series' end. Well, it's par for the course. The magic number 5, right? 5 seasons, but these days 5 seasons is like 50 or so episodes. A little bit shorter in this case for Strange New Worlds. Of all the shows in the third wave of this universe, which began with 2017's Discovery, Strange New Worlds is the most well-received, by the larger fan base ever since TOS fans picketed NBC for more Star Trek and then again demanding the network cancel the animated series it greenlit. New series have struggled for acceptance. Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, blah, blah, all had their critics, and yet all those shows experienced a renaissance on streaming. I always wonder how they get this data. How do they know? I'm so confused about streaming. Back in the day, you could just look at Nielsen ratings, and you could figure out exactly how many people were tuning in. But how does this work for streaming? Is it time watched? Because I'm subscribed to some things, and I've watched things, well, quote-unquote watched. I've let them play in the background that I would normally never actually, sit down and wait for, or God forbid, buy. When you reduce the barrier to entry to enjoy something, and you make it like a subscription thing, lower quality things perform better, which is sad and is also a gross oversimplification. But, I've played things that I never normally would have if I had to pay individually or if I had to wait for them. I'm sure you can relate. Strange New Worlds arrived as a breath of hopeful fresh air. I felt that too, by delivering a familiar premise, familiar characters, and the most famous ship, the original u.s.s. Enterprise. Yep, Strange New Worlds had the original u.s.s. Enterprise. But all Starfleet missions end. 5 seasons, 5-year mission, 5-season mission. The biggest culprit for Strange New Worlds cancellation is the Paramount merger delay. Remember that? When I was talking about that forever ago? We're still not done. We can't figure out this merger. Skydance Media was meant to close the deal months ago, and delays cost money. So we're at a standstill here. Is Alex Kurtzman out? Is he out in 2026? Is that contract not being renewed? Where are we going forward with Skydance Media merger? What's happening? Like, we can't really get this stuff done. We can't move forward until we know where we stand. I think maybe that's what's happening here. Chief stockholder in the studio, Sherry Redstone, faced financial troubles after the studio lost billions in streaming investments. Wow. And a string of box office flops. A frequent production partner with the studio, including the last 2 Star Trek films, Skydance wanted Paramount's studio space, prestige name, and catalog of films, series, and intellectual property. Redstone just wanted out. As talks began and Paramount entertained other offers, production on Star Trek continued in earnest, even though the studio's investment in developing the property lessened. Okay, so it looks like we were moving forward at a snail's pace with not a lot of money because we're not as confident? Is that because of the financial troubles after the studio lost billions in streaming investments? I don't know exactly what that entails, but I'm just taking it on faith that this is based in something. On CBR, I don't even know what that stands for, this site. In the second wave of Star Trek television productions, executive producer Rick Berman enjoyed an unprecedented 18-year run with 4 shows. Yeah, I know. Looking back, we all love it now. I remember when we didn't like Rick Berman, but now we love him. In 2017, the third wave began with Discovery, followed by active development on more Star Trek series at one time than ever before, after the studio forced both writers and actors unions to strike in 2023. With streaming as a central financial issue, Paramount faced dire financial straits, and the Skydance merger met trouble. Some Paramount executives remained committed to Star Trek, even as merger talks began. A new series, Starfleet Academy, went into production. The streaming film, Section 31, debuted, and an untitled animated short series for YouTube is reportedly in the works. Wow, okay. Animated short specifically for YouTube. Looking at similar mergers in the past, Paramount Skydance, or whatever the name will be, should have opened for business in the first half of 2025. As of June 2025, whether the merger will even finalize is an open question. The legal challenges and other delays aren't just preventing the studio from doing new business. With more than $15 billion in debt, big number, Paramount falls even deeper into financial trouble the longer the delays carry on. And there's that enterprise. Yep, it's... Can we just call it dead? Can we call Kelvin Timeline dead? Like, we should just stop showing this enterprise. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Executive producer Alex Kurtzman's exclusive deal with Paramount is set to expire. I told you! See, I told you. In 2014, Alex Kurtzman launched his solo production company, Secret Hideout, along with working on The Mummy. I didn't think that performed very well, and Universal's proposed Dark Universe. I'm going to assume that performed poorly because I don't know what it is. CBS Studios brought them in to relaunch Star Trek. After the first season of Discovery, Kurtzman stepped in as showrunner and signed an exclusive deal with CBS to develop Star Trek and other series. In 2021, CBS Studios extended Kurtzman's deal for 5 more years. Another 5-year mission, meaning it expires in 2026. As the company overseeing Strange New Worlds, there's a clock to finish the show. Does it sound like that contract is going to be renewed if we're doing a 6-episode final season of a show? Is that what does that like feel right to you? I don't know. Something's telling me that like we're wrapping this up. Like maybe like what if the Skydance merger is waiting for that to wrap up? What if they're saying, listen, finish up Strange New Worlds, finish up 1 season of Starfleet Academy, and then ice the franchise, and then we're coming in and we're going to do our own thing. What if that's the case here? What if they're waiting for this? Right? I don't know. What if it goes the other way? What if the tail's wagging the dog here and not the other way around? The terms for Secret Hideout's multiple deals are not public, but reports in the Hollywood trade suggest the company's earned around $200 million since the relationship began. Earning $200 million for that amount of time, I feel like that's not a lot of money. Like, it's not worth that much more from when it started. I don't know. Since the terms of the deal aren't public, it's unclear what exactly would happen if the deal expired while Secret Hideout shows are in production. With the merger in limbo, even a short-term extension from CBS Studios could be difficult to accomplish or afford. With the 2nd season of Starfleet Academy set to film, Secret Hideout doesn't have enough time to finish 10 episodes of Strange New Worlds Season 5. Oof. Paramount's money troubles also could be the reason for the final season's new episode count. Both companies want Strange New Worlds to end with at least as many seasons of Discovery and Lower Decks. The producers of the show also surely want to give their versions of these characters and their fans proper narrative closure. One good thing about this is that we know that it's ending with Season 5 before we start. Like with Discovery, we kind of the other shoe kind of fell during production and they had to kind of wrap it up on the fly, and you can kind of tell. I mean, I think the final season of Discovery went okay, but I think this is good. This should be better. Like, by rights, if you know that your show is ending before you start a season, you should be able to put together a very good series finale, but we'll see. What's also unknown is whether Kurtzman wants to continue heading Star Trek, or leading Star Trek, I should say. Fans blame him for the series they don't like. The studio allegedly blames him for the fan base not growing. Is this true? The studio allegedly blames him for the fan base not growing. Need a source on that. Like, did someone from the studio really say that? Despite keeping all new shows behind the Paramount Plus paywall, given the state of affairs at Paramount, Kurtzman may want to move to a different studio, such as Universal or Fox, whom he worked with in the past. It's equally possible that Skydance wants to let the deal expire, so if they take control of the studio, they can produce Star Trek themselves. After all, Skydance is first and foremost a production company, like Secret Hideout. They produce shows like Reacher and Foundation. That's for Apple TV and Prime Video. I don't know anything about these shows, but I think Foundation is sci-fi. I think I read a Foundation book once. Anything is possible, from a clean break to a new, read, non-exclusive deal, or a straight-up extension should financial times change in the next year. Recent Star Trek series cancellations reflect a larger trend in streaming originals. Oh yeah, I remember that episode. That episode wasn't very good. What was it called? Janelle or something? I didn't really like that one. One of the lesser episodes of that season, maybe the worst one, I don't know, depending on who you ask. That being the final season of Discovery. Studios are shifting focus back to feature films after the strikes and a strategy change. It looks like streaming wasn't really all that. Recent rumors suggest Skydance wants to shelve Star Trek on television for a significant amount of time. While Kurtzman's critics suggest this reflects dissatisfaction with the quality and substance of Secret Hideout series, it could be something more straightforward. Since the 2023 strikes crafted better rates for writers and actors on streaming, studios have obviously reduced their investment into original shows and films for these platforms. That's not all bad. Like, that's not a super bad thing to shift over to movies right now. Like, it could work. In fairness, streamers like Disney Plus and Paramount Plus only recently operated a profit. What? They're just turning a profit now? That sounds bad. Executives, especially those in positions not considered creative, are historically reactionary, yet there may be a waiting game underway to see if they stay profitable without significant investment in new, original, quote-unquote, content. My favorite word. Even if some subscribers jump ship, the streamer may still turn a profit if that loss is less than what they spend to make any new shows. Okay. This is a well put together article. Look at this. We got a little diagram here. Series title, total seasons, status, Discovery, 5-2-3, 5-2, 5-2. So 2 and 5 are important numbers here. And Picard was never really supposed to have more than 3. I think it was intended to be short. So really, guys, we're just looking at the last of Strange New Worlds, like season 3, 4, and a little bit of 5. So what do we got, 26 episodes to get through Strange New Worlds, and, supposedly 2 seasons of Starfleet Academy to get through. Season 1 to debut in 2025. We might be looking at one of those, those years, those year ends where we're just watching Star Trek straight through. There was a moment where I was just doing a Star Trek review, every week for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. It took a lot out of me. Even with shorter 5th seasons, Strange New Worlds is easily considered a successful show. I just want to see the metrics. How do we... I want to prove this. I'm not crapping on it. I just want... How do we look at the raw data here? Does anyone know? I'm tired of reading the tea leaves, if you know what I mean by that. As are Lower Decks and Discovery. Sure, 5 seasons are fewer than the 7. Well, I mean, I made this mistake on my channel. I said 5 seasons, and then someone corrected me, and they said, listen, 5 seasons these days, that's only 50 episodes. That's like 2 seasons back in the day, maybe 2.5. So yeah, it's really, if you go by episode count, they're not getting that far. Sure, 5 seasons are fewer than the 7 most of the second wave series earned, but it's more than Enterprise ever got, even if it deserved it. Thank you. The most successful streaming original on Disney Plus is arguably The Mandalorian, which only earned 3 seasons, with fewer total episodes than any Star Trek series, save for short treks. The most successful streaming original on Disney Plus only got 3 seasons? Why? Many streaming series can barely get a second season, so 5 is an absolute triumph, especially at Paramount+. Even if Skydance plans to sideline Secret Hideout or a new series, the Kurtzman era is a significant chapter of Star Trek history. It is. It's also even money that, just like the Berman era of the universe, these new shows will enjoy a significant reevaluation, maybe. Especially if they end up on Netflix, Prime Video, or some place new fans can discover them. Yeah, I would, like, these shows, when you compare them to the Berman era shows were more similar to each other than the Kurtzman era shows are to each other, right? So when we just kind of have blanket statements say that they're going to be reevaluated later and have their own kind of renaissance, I don't know if that's going to be as cut and dry as that, because Discovery, it feels very different from Strange New Worlds, which feels very different from Lower Decks, which feels very different from Picard. Maybe that's a good thing, but it's like, it kind of makes it feel like maybe like one of them could be forgotten and one not, or you know what I mean? Like it's like an apples to oranges comparison to just say they're all going to be reevaluated. But when you look at the Berman era, the shows have a very similar style. You can seamlessly transition from one to the other much more easily than you can with these shows. Maybe that's a good thing. Studio's new austere streaming approach may be to punish actors and writers for striking, or less vindictive greed, but things are in flux. At the time of this writing, Andor is the most streamed series across both original and acquired. Andor! They must have made a Star Trek show about Andoria, right? According to Nielsen, however, sometimes a long-canceled series like Lost or Suits dominates the charts. That's another thing I noticed with streaming, people saying that sometimes an old show will just bounce back and everyone will stream it. Films that flop in theaters become streaming hits, while even movies with bad reputations like Section 31 can rank in the Nielsen Top 10 streaming ratings. Well, I streamed it, and then streamed it exactly enough to do my review after that. Being streamed a lot does not equal good. I think that's what we're seeing here. And, I mean, earlier in this article, they say they're losing a lot of money. I don't exactly know the metrics behind that, but it doesn't sound like they're super happy with these shows. I don't know. Despite the massive amount of in-house data they possess, these studios may have no idea what does or does not make for a streaming hit. Neither do I. They may also want to reduce commitment to streaming first shows and films, with a vain hope theatrical grosses and linear television ratings rebound. Can't see it. I think you've given people the expectation that they can just wait for streaming. And why would I leave the house if I can just stream everything I want here? Why not? Yeah, that's what you taught people to do. Given all the struggles Paramount and Skydance will face if the merger goes through, pulling back on Star Trek shows may have nothing to do with Kurtzman or the universe. Star Trek fans should get 4 more seasons of TV, unless they, quote, Batgirl the shows. Would Paramount and Skydance risk the bad press for a write-off? Maybe. When Warner Bros. And Discovery completed their merger, embattled CEO David Zaslav made some desperate moves to manage the company's debt. One thing the studio did was permanently shelve completed films and series for a unique post-merger write-off opportunity. Oh, okay. This earned them a slew of bad press, especially over Batgirl, which reignited when The Flash flopped. While Zaslav made his bones in reality television, David Ellison of Skydance is a true creative executive. Well, we'll see, which implies a respect for films and series as more than mere content. My favorite word returns. So even when the secret hideout deal expires, there should be 2 complete seasons of both Strange New Worlds and Starfleet Academy set to debut. Given the reaction to Warner Bros. Discovery's use of this merger write-off maneuver, if Skydance can complete their deal with new studio, wouldn't want that kind of heat? Wait a minute, what? If Skydance can complete their deal with the new studio, wouldn't want that kind of heat. Given the reaction of Warner Bros. Discovery's... Oh, the new studio doesn't want to carry over a bad inertia, I guess. Star Trek isn't as big as or popular as Star Wars, but its fandom is passionate and can make noise when needed. Well, even with the Kurtzman era critics, killing the final 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds to make a tiny dent in their balance sheet would cause a ruckus. Even if they were desperate, Star Trek historically continues to earn money for the studio, well after the series are cancelled. Yeah, because you can just play the episodes over and over and over again. When they were good forever. They didn't have an expiration date back in the day. In fact, the original series wasn't a hit until syndication. This is true. And TNG didn't turn a profit until a given season's first rerun. According to the 50-year mission books by Edward Gross and Mark A. Altman and various Star Trek documentaries, there remains a chance the unreleased seasons of these Star Trek shows are hidden away for a cheap write-off post-merger. I don't know. Barring that, Star Trek fans can look forward to 4 new seasons of television through 2027. I hope you'll be there when we review it. Looking at how drastically the industry's priorities shifted from 2023 to 2025, streaming may be back in a big way by then. I don't know. That Star Trek still exists at all arguably defies all conventional wisdom in Hollywood, doesn't it? Yet even if the second resurgence ends, there is now a clearly established pattern. Star Trek goes away from TV, comes back as feature films, and then comes back to TV. I'm ready. Paramount canceled Strange New Worlds, but by ensuring it finished its run strong... But by ensuring it finished its run strong, shows the studio expects to be 4 times lucky. Well, what do you think? Can we have it on television and then come back with movies and then back to television and then come back with movies and back to television and go back to movies and then come back to television again? 4 times strong? Paramount cancels Strange New Worlds, but by ensuring it finished its run strong, shows the studio expects to be a 4 times lucky. Maybe. We'll see what happens. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 debuts with 2 episodes on July 17th, 2025 on Paramount+, to be followed by 2 more seasons of this series and the new show, Starfleet Academy. What do you think? I thought this was a well put together article with lots of information, and it felt very fair. It feels like there's fire where there was smoke. It felt like there was smoke here a few months ago, and now I think there could be fire. Ever since I found out that the final season of Strange New Worlds was going to have 6 episodes, I knew this could be serious, and I knew I had to kind of mention it. And that's why Paramount canceled Star Trek Strange New Worlds by renewing it for 2 seasons. Lots of Star Trek ahead of us. Hopefully you're going to be there. I'm Lieutenant Mark. I'll see you later.